There's a moment that happens in midlife that nobody tells you about. It's not loud, it doesn't come with balloons, and it doesn't care how many degrees you've earned or how many people were at your wedding. It usually arrives in an ordinary setting. Maybe you are standing at the kitchen counter battering toast, or watering your basil, or waiting for the kettle to boil. And suddenly, without announcement, your brain slips into a whisper. Okay, so what now? Not in an observational crisis way, not in a movie montage way, more in a quiet, practical Tuesday morning way. For a lot of us, over 50, that whisper becomes one of the defining questions of the second half of life. Not what did I achieve, but what keeps me going. And here's the interesting thing. Most people assume that this answer needs to be big and cinematic, a passion project, a dramatic career change, a spiritual awakening, a relocation to a Greek island with olive trees and donkeys. But when you talk to real people, not the Instagram accounts, and you look at the research, the answer is surprisingly small. It is not the big things that keep us going. It is the small things done often. Let me tell you about a man named Peter. Not my husband, a different Peter. This one was a retired maths teacher who lived in the building opposite us years ago. He was the definition of simplicity. He owned 2 pairs of shoes, read library books with cracked spines, and still used a flip phone long after the rest of the world converted to screens bigger than lunch plate. He also had a ritual. Every afternoon at 4 p.m. he made tea, Ceylon, no sugar, 1 slice of lemon, never lime, and he drank it on his veranda while watching the street. It was the same routine for at least 15 years. And if you walk past at 4:03, you could set your watch by him. When I asked him once why was he so consistent with it, he shrugged and just said, "My day needs an ending, and my ending needs a ritual." At that time, I thought, sure, that's quaint, cute, but a little old school. But years later, I realized it was something else. It was purpose in miniature. Tea wasn't just a drink. Tea was a marker. Tea was structure. Tea was reward. Tea was presence. Tea was continuity. It was small, almost invisible, but it kept him going. Now, this isn't just a charming story about a retired teacher and a lemon wedge. There's research behind why these tiny things matter so much in later life. Let's break down the 4 pillars that show up again and again in aging research. Pillar 1, connection. Micro moments matter. The Harvard Adult Development Study, the longest happiness study in the world, now running for more than 80 years, found something astonishing. At age 50, the quality of your relationships is a stronger predictor of your physical health at 80 than your cholesterol levels. So, it is not leafy greens that predict longevity quite as much as it is your coffee dates and WhatsApp voice notes. But here's the part people miss. It is not the big relational moments that matter. Like weddings and milestone birthdays, it is the micro moments. A neighbor greeting you by name, a grandchild showing you a drawing, a friend sending you a recipe just because, A cousin sharing an old joke from 1983. A dog who leans their whole head against your leg. Psychologist Barbara Fredrickson calls these micro moments of love, tiny bursts of warmth, attention and shared humanity. They are not romantic, they're relational. And for people over 50, they are fuel. Because the opposite of thriving in later life isn't death, it's drift. Drift happens when we slowly reduce contact, reduce participation, and reduce connection. Not because we don't care, but because life gets quiet. Pillar 2, savoring. Stretch the good. Another underrated aging skill is savoring. The act of noticing a good moment and mentally stretching it out. Scientists studying savoring in older adults found that those who intentionally savor report higher happiness, have less depression, feel more satisfied with their health, age with more resilience and optimism. And here is the beautiful part. Savoring doesn't require good circumstances. It requires attention. You can savor the first sip of coffee on the stoop, a WhatsApp voice note from a friend, the smell of rain hitting soil, your dog's breath, jacarandas doing their purple nonsense again. You don't have to earn savoring. You just have to pause long enough to let the moment land. Pillar 3, gratitude. The multivitamin for mood. Gratitude research is now so robust that it is practically boring to scientists because it works so consistently. Across more than 60 randomized controlled trials, gratitude practice like 3 good things, gratitude letters, gratitude journaling led to higher life satisfaction, lower anxiety, lower depression, better emotional resilience. One study even found gratitude was associated with reduced mortality in older women. Imagine being told that noticing good things adds literal years to your life. What a bargain. But here's the key. Gratitude doesn't have to be grand. It can be microscopic. The bread rose beautifully today. The tomatoes are finally ripening. My knee didn't complain too much on the stairs today. These are tiny victories, and tiny victories matters a lot after 50. Pillar 4, purpose. Shrinking it, not losing it. One of the most common fears after 50 is the quiet panic of not feeling useful. For decades, your purpose might have been obvious. Raising children, building a career, running a household, paying school fees, keeping human beings alive, managing crises, filling lunchboxes, refereeing teenage hormones disputes, and suddenly you are 55 or 62 and there are no lunchboxes, no deadlines, no teenagers to negotiate with over the Wi-Fi password. So, here is the good news. Purpose doesn't have to disappear. It can shrink. Research on aging and purpose shows that even small roles improve mental health, cognitive function, motivation, physical activity, resilience against depression. Here is the important part. Purpose doesn't have to be meaningful to the world. It only has to be meaningful to you. For some people, purpose is becoming the unofficial historian of the family WhatsApp group. For others, it's watering the community garden, being the one who remembers birthdays, or checking in on the neighbor whose husband passed away. These are tiny things, but tiny things are glue. Now, let's talk about emotional versus financial wealth. Now that's something that nobody really wants to talk about. Not every one of us arrived at 60 financially secure. In fact, A lot of people don't. But there is a hopeful counterweight. You can be emotionally and socially wealthy, even if you are not financially wealthy. The research shows again and again that purpose, connection, gratitude, savoring, participation are stronger predictors of life satisfaction in later life than financial status once basic needs are met. This doesn't mean money is irrelevant. Far from it. But it does mean the market doesn't have the final word whether your life remains rich. A hiking group in the park is emotional wealth. A monthly community lunch is social wealth. A grandchild falling asleep on your chest is relational wealth. A neighbor bringing your stew is communal wealth. The ability to laugh at yourself is psychological wealth. A dog who follows you down the wall is loyalty wealth. You don't need to be financially wealthy to wake up with a reason to get out of bed. Here is what the research and lived experience all seem to agree on. The things that keep us going are small, repeatable, and very often overlooked. Let me make this more concrete. The things that keep us going are often 1. Small routines, something to anchor the day. Morning coffee ritual, journaling, late afternoon walk, tending to plants, prayers before bed. 2. Small contributions, something that make us feel needed, like helping a neighbor, cooking for others, volunteering, being a listener, mentoring younger people. 3. Small communities, somewhere to belong, a walking group, a church circle, a book club, a choir, a WhatsApp prayer group. 4. Small moments of beauty, something that makes us feel alive, like sunsets, music, gardens, art, birds, the ocean. 5. Small curiosities, something that sparks the mind, learning a new skill, taking an online course, joining a academic class, reading about astronomy, attending a talk. None of these require heroism. They require participation. Remember our friend Peter with the lemon wedge? A few years before he passed away, I asked him if he ever wished he'd done more with his retirement. He looked at me, smiled, and said, "Oh no, I had tea every day at 4. I am a very successful man." That sentence has lived rent-free in my head for years. Because success, once you remove the filters and the comparison and the retirement statements and the Instagram feeds, become surprisingly small. Did you connect? Did you contribute? Did you notice beauty? Did you exercise purpose? Did you feel needed? Did you love someone? Did you let someone love you back? If you did those small things, then you are not done. You are not finished. You are not declining. You are still going and doing very well. So, here is the Thrive invitation for today. Chase the small, repeatable thing that helps you wake up with a spark and go to bed with the sense of, yes, that was worth living. For some of you, it will be Basil. For others, it will be grandchildren, or dogs, or charity work, or pottery, or Sudoku, or the weekly park run, or planting clivias, or baking bread that takes 3 days. It doesn't matter what it is. It matters that you have it. Because in the second half of life, tiny things done consistently becomes our scaffolding. They keep us steady. They keep us connected. They keep us curious. They keep us grateful. They keep us hopeful. They keep us going. And if you are still going, even quietly, even imperfectly, you are already winning. Thank you for spending this time with me. If you are over 50, 60 or 70, hear this clearly. There is still beauty ahead. There are still people to love. There are still rituals to savor. There are still mornings to claim. There is still purpose to express. It won't always be loud, but it will be rich. And it's the small things that will take you there. Thank you for watching and keep on thriving.